Hello, everybody, and welcome back to General Geekery. We're gonna try something kind of different and kind of new. Um, JD and I talked about doing kind of an offshoot show where we talk about specific figures or vehicles that have had many versions of them, and then kind of talk about each different version and uh, see how that works. And we decided to do the first one on the Alley Viper, since I recently completed my collection of Alley Vipers. I've been in the process of collecting the specialty Vipers, all of the specialty Vipers, for about a year now. And about last week, um, I got the last one that I needed to have all of the Alley Vipers.
So all of them from 1989 to the classified one.
Yeah. So there are 14 different Alley Vipers, two Alley Viper commanders, and then or Alley Viper officers. I don't remember exactly how those are listed. I think they're officers. And then the classified version. So you have 16 different Alley Viper figures.
That's a lot of urban assault troopers.
Right? I mean, that's what's kind of cool about it is you don't have to like army build one version. You can, if you have all of them, you have an army suddenly.
Yes, of varying qualities.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the things that I was going to point out is like some of these are really cool, some of them are not. Uh, a lot of, not all of them came on a single card. Some of them came in 2 packs. Some of them were vehicle drivers. There's one or two that came in like a 6 pack. And then a couple of them were like convention exclusive figures, or like one of them was a convention exclusive figure at any rate. But we're gonna go through that and kind of talk about each one. Gonna do a little bit of post processing on this, and since I have each one, I'm gonna take nice, decent pictures of it, and then just drop it in as we're talking about this. So be a lot of post processing. So we're only gonna do this kind of show like once a month, I think. The Alley Viper is going to be first, and then JD suggested one of his favorite topics is his tank. So we're going to do the his tank next. And we're talking about maybe having guests on. So if you've got suggestions for figures that have a lot of different variations and want to talk about those, let us know. And if you want to be on the show, let us know.
I think I've got a guest. I offered a guest for the His Tank episode, so let you know what happens.
And
He's gonna for now, he's gonna hold the Alley Vipers up mostly so he can remind me what the hell they look like, because with 14 versions, um, I know in my head I know what most of them look like, but I couldn't tell you which version was what.
right.
After like version 6, after that it's all a jumble.
Yeah, and I had them out of order. I have all of my specialty Vipers on the and Cobra Troopers on the deck of my flag, and I had them out of order and didn't realize it. So
And if I just realized, if I hold, it's not Cheetos dust, it's spray paint. I was I
huffing.
was spray painting something neon orange. I went to, and I'm like, I'm on camera. I'm like, no, it's not. I was not eating Cheetos. Um. Anyways, I thought I should clarify that. It's definitely spray paint. Brian does a smart thing. He's got a pair of forceps that he holds whatever he's painting with. But I had a pair of forceps. I don't know what I did with them. They got lost somewhere along the way. So my fingers are the forceps. So I always had paint on
I'll
my
send
hand.
you. I'll send you a pair. I got a bunch of them over the years. Uh, so
I'll probably lose those two at some point.
yeah, I'll send you a couple of them. Just keep them next to your. What I do is I keep them next to my primer can.
Wow, that's you're the smart one here. So
Well, I don't know about that, but we'll see. So we're gonna start off with like the probably one of the most iconic figures in the GI Joe line. Certainly one of my top two favorite figures of all time, and that is the version 1 Alley Viper. Um, they started pretty early with the bright colors. I think a lot earlier than people give GI Joe credit for, because I mean he is bright orange and he's bright blue, and yet
Uh,
somehow it works.
yeah, the original Alley Viper, that one was designed by Hasbro GI Joe designer Mark Pennington. Um, he he went to town. He went to town. He put everything into that sculpt, and he got an iconic figure out of it.
Absolutely, the sculpt is just beautiful. I mean, he's got body armor sculpted, pouches, knives. He's got like two or three knives sculpted on him, grenades. He comes with the Riot shield, the iconic gun, and the backpack with the grappling gun sculpted into it. And then the faceplate that folds down. I think the one of the things that kind of ever the lament of a lot of people is the card art shows the faceplate coming down just below the eyes. So the Alley Viper looks over the faceplate in the card art, whereas the faceplate on the figure covers the whole face. So I think at one point in time I did a custom where I took a Dremel and Dremeled out just enough so it would sit over the face to just like the card art. I have no idea what happened to that custom.
I feel like that may have been an engineering compromise, like so that because the faceplate, if you take it off, tends to crack anyways. But I feel like if the tabs had been lower, or the holes had been, or maybe maybe it would have been more prone to breakage. That's what I imagine. They had to compromise and make the faceplate cover his
Full
face.
face.
But later on, we could justify that and say, well, maybe it was a heads up display inside.
Right. That's how I've always kind of seen it, is that like it was full faceplate with in the Cobra sigil that's sculpted into the faceplates, just like a fisheye lens for a
Yeah.
heads
So
up display.
if anybody isn't, if anybody watching this isn't actually sure what a heads up display is, well, you've all seen the Iron Man movies when they show Tony Stark inside the armor and he's got the computer readouts and the charts. That's a heads up display.
Exactly. Um, going to talk about easily lost parts and broken parts as well. I think that's kind of an interesting topic. Most of the stuff is not easily lost except for the faceplate. Like JD mentioned, the faceplate can crack. Uh, there are pegs on the helmet. Pegs tend to break off over years too. My Alley Viper, when I picked him up this morning, his O-ring had snapped and he stayed balanced perfectly. So I had no idea that his O-ring snapped. So I started picking him up and his waist went one way and his legs stayed on the deck of the flag. And I'm like, what the?
I'm shocked that any part of it, or like that you didn't just find legs standing there and the rest. I'm shocked because usually when the O-ring snaps, it sends the three pieces in three different
Right?
directions.
Yeah, no, so I work 48-hour shifts, so I'm gone for 2 days at a time. So when I come back, one of my like kind of rituals is to go walk along the deck of the flag and see if anybody needs a new O-ring, because every once in a while somebody's popped one and it's fallen over, and then they're like dominoes, man. So it just like knocks them all over the place. But I think one of the totally awesome things about this version 1 figure is the file card. The file card just makes these guys sound completely and utterly badass and just essentially like gorillas with machine guns.
I I they're while the Alley Viper is one of those brightly colored figures that usually escapes the criticism and the guffawing at the neon colors. I have seen detractors online over the years, and I actually I actually sort of justified it once by explaining to somebody that they're not they're not dressed in urban camo because if there's uh if there's some kind of municipal pacification system going on where some city is under assault by Cobra, and they've mostly or they've taken control of some areas, but they need the alley vipers as reinforcements. By that point, it doesn't matter what their color is, it's too late. By the time you see the alley vipers coming, you're you're folding. The city's folding under Cobra's rule.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And bright colors are nature's way of saying, "Don't touch."
Yes, exactly. Because some of the prettiest jungle animals and some of the most interesting insects in the world are brightly colored to distract the predators when it's a kill or be killed situation. Some of the most deadly animals are the prettiest. So
Exactly.
I figure by the time the alley vipers are around, it doesn't really matter what colors they are.
Exactly, and that's the way I've always looked at it. And I think definitely a good example of that is the version 2 Alley Viper, which came out in 1993 as part of the Battle Core line, because he's bright yellow and black. Uh, I remember when this. I don't think I was still collecting when this came out, so I didn't see this come out. But I remember not being a particular fan of it when I started collecting again as an adult, and then got into customizing. But man, this is one that has really, really grown on me over the
While
years.
I was still buying toys then, I don't remember that one in the stores. I don't I don't have any particular memory of it. Uh at the time, it's sort of one that I think I sort of learned about it later because some of the 1993 stuff wasn't always in stores.
Yeah,
I remember seeing like some of the sub team stuff more often than the battle core stuff. I do remember seeing Leatherneck with the giraffe pants on the store shelves,
I
but
love that sculpt. That is one of the
I
most
did not remember
awesome figures.
that yellow alley viper until later.
They changed up quite a bit of the equipment on this. He does still come with the iconic backpack, but they changed up his faceplate to look more like a snake head, or um, which
Yeah, that's pretty
he
cool.
I like the idea. They went with a real softer plastic so it doesn't break, which is nice. Um, but the softer plastic tends to have softer sculpts, so I kind of like the original one, and I like what they were going for with this. But it sometimes, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me all the time. Sometimes I like it. Sometimes it's like, whoop. Oh, and yeah, frequently broken parts. I was going to mention that the shield on the version 1 uh, tends to snap thumbs off if you're not careful, because the uh, it's not round. It's kind of oval shaped, so it's definitely thicker. So if you put it in wrong, you're gonna bust a thumb off. Um,
And broken thumb Joes, while they can be fixed, that's terrible.
yeah,
Because it's extensive surgery to the figure to fix a broken thumb. And when we were kids, broken thumb figures,
never
they
got played with again.
I was or they did, but more
The
often than not,
vehicle
they couldn't
drivers,
hold weapons, so
right?
they were just prisoners, or they were manning the vehicles,
Yeah,
like the weapons or driving or they were stuffed into the vehicle because they weren't as useful.
and they kind of resolved that with the version 2 by having a clip-on shield sculpted in the shape of a cobra sigil.
I
Um,
love that shield.
I love the idea. Again, it's the softer plastic as well, so it doesn't stay on very well. I kind of wish they'd gone with the harder plastic, but at the same time, the clips on those would have broken. So while it kind of feels cheesy next to the version 1 figure, this saved a lot of broken thumbs, and it probably saved a lot of broken shields by being molded in that softer plastic.
I love the giant ass Cobra sigil. It's
The
like
only
this
thing
is
I would have liked to have seen is some paint apps on it.
yeah. Well, yeah, I could see that. Like, yeah, but
I'd have done the Cobra sigil in yellow with the space in between black. I think that would have been fantastic.
that would have been cool.
He also, of course, since this is Battle Core, came with a big ass spring-loaded launcher, missile launcher. The sculpted on it is actually, I actually like this. I'm not a big fan uh, of action features and spring-loaded weapons. I've mentioned that numerous times on various shows, but this has a really nice sculpt to it. It's like a mini gun and grenade launcher with like a
Some of those spring loaded missile launchers had really cool
They
designs.
did. They really did. There are some real hidden gems in there. Maybe that's something we need to talk about sometime. Is the goofy ass spring loaded launchers that some of them are just they're really genius ideas. The other thing that he came with that I don't have with displayed with this one, I'm assuming I have it, is he came with a recolored version of Dial Tone's weapon as well, and then of course 2 missiles for his spring-loaded missile launcher. I don't keep the missiles in the launchers displayed. I keep a little tackle box. If they can't hold their weapon, or if it's something I'm worried about losing, I'll put it in that little tackle box that stays under the flag. So his rifle and missiles are probably in that tackle box.
I'm assuming, well, yeah, because they weren't on the accessory tree, right? So
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so.
No, I don't think
Yeah.
those came on an accessory tree.
So
No,
I'm gonna guess
no,
though that the missiles and the rifle are they're in black plastic,
they
like
are.
the shield. Okay.
Yeah, they are. It's it's and the plastic on the dial tone weapon is that same soft plastic that the faceplate and shield are sculpted in. I really like the sculpt on this. I think it's fantastic. It's definitely has like body armor with knives and grenades. It's a fantastic sculpt. Um, and then in true Hasbro style, they repainted that for the version 3, kind of in the traditional Alley Viper colors, sort of. They're kind of it's still Battle Core and it's still muted, or still Battle Core, so it's still bright, but they're kind of muted blue and orange. So let's do a comparison here real quick between the V1 and the V2 or V3, sorry. So I mean, you can tell the blue is definitely toned down a bit, and the orange is slightly more muted. But it's the version 2 figure.
And that one came. That one, his weapons were on the tree, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I'd have
Yeah. But he's got the same dial tone rifle, but it's orange, right?
let me check on that. I'm just
In fact, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he come with the original Alley Viper rifle, but in orange too? That
um
I could be
yeah,
wrong.
he did come with the he came with they did his weapons did come on the tree. I'm not sure that I have that weapon actually now that I think about it. So I might not actually have a complete one of these. Um,
That shield with the Cobra sigil,
yeah,
that works for me even in bright orange.
yeah,
It's
no, I
such
think
a
this is what I was talking about. I think the coloration of the shield makes a big difference. I do like the orange on the shield. I think it really works. So yeah, he did
it's
come with the recolored version of the version 1 Alley Viper rifle, and he did come with a recolored version of Dale Tone's weapon. One thing of note is there are two versions or a variation on the version 3 LA Viper. Some of them will have little orange stripes on the legs. I do not have one that has the stripes on the legs. So that is the version 3. Let me pull up the version 4 real quick here.
version 4. I think that's the one that came with the 1997 Rage tank repaint.
You believe you are correct? Yes. the 1997 Rage. Let me make sure that he's here we go. Yes. All right. So yeah, so the version 4 is a repaint of the version 2 figure. It's done in blue with kind of a whitish gray camouflage pattern with gold and black accents. Still has the Cobra face shield. Um, you know, comes with the clip on Cobra sigil shield again, and a dial tone rifle.
The legs belong to Duke version 1.
Ah,
They lost the
oh yeah,
tooling
I guess
for,
I didn't notice that.
yeah,
Yeah.
at some point they lost the tooling for, or the tooling was broken for, because the Battle Corps Alley Vipers shared waist and legs with the original Alley Viper. And by the time they were doing the 1997 figure, uh, they didn't have those legs anymore. So Duke's legs were used as a substitute, and those legs stayed with that figure for years afterwards. Um,
Indeed.
in fact, in the original prototype images of the 97 Alley Viper, they were all hand painted prototypes. Like they took the old figures and hand painted them. They were intending to use the version 1 Alley Viper, but they did not have the tooling for it.
Gotcha. All right.
So, but
Uh,
they had most of the tooling for version 2.
I really like this one, even though it's kind of a repaint. I think this is one of the most urban looking ones.
It's an awesome, the blue that they used is amazing.
Yeah.
I like I like the white camo. I wish it was a little less splotchy, blobby looking, but it was the first time we'd seen the Alley Viper in muted colors, and it's really cool.
Absolutely.
It's but as a vehicle driver with the Rage tank, it's not the easiest figure to get a hold of now.
No.
I had one at the time. It made me wish that I could have gotten the second one, but that would have necessitated buying a second Rage tank. And as much as I like the Rage, I didn't need a second one with its shitty paper stickers.
And that Rage, that's the blue one, right? Blue and black Rage. I think I have that. Hang on a second.
I like sharing trivia bits like the lost tooling and the uh, what the 1997 line was supposed to look like. I think that's why I'm on the show. Ah, yes, very cool.
Yeah. So I had two flags, and I sold one to my buddy that has just a shit ton of GI Joe stuff for sale. So I essentially just traded stuff, and this is one of the things I got.
Was that's TA Smart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wait, I take that back. It's not the shitty paper stickers. It's the shitty stickers with the white background. They did not have the clear backing on the stickers.
Right. So
So all of
reunited
the
at last,
stickers.
and you saw it
Yeah.
here first.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the
Like
97 vehicles, of all of them, the Rage was built the best. It doesn't have a lot of quality control problems. It's not brittle, but yeah, it does have those obnoxious stickers on them. Although Toy Hacks does have clear backing 97 reproduction
it's on my
stickers.
list of vehicles to restore. So yeah, even though that's in really good shape and it's just a little dusty, I'm totally gonna go back and get Toy Hack stickers and put decent stickers on that thing. I can't recommend Toy Hacks enough. I've done probably close to a dozen restorations at this point, and all of them have Toy Hacks repro stickers, and they're so like JD was saying, in the lighter years they went to like paper stickers, and they did not age well. They were just shit. But originally they used plastic stickers. Toy Hacks uses kind of a vinyl, so I think they will last even longer than the original
They're
stickers.
high quality and they don't rip.
Yeah.
But the 97 Rage was really cool, and the Alley Viper included was really cool. And it was interesting. I remember at the time, I thought I had never minded the original Rage. I always liked it.
Me too.
But I remember buying it at the time and thinking, Huh. Cobra colors for the Rage. Yeah, it had never occurred to me before that.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. So the next one is the version 5 Alley Viper. That one came out in 2002. We
One of my
recently,
favorites. One of
yeah,
my
we
favorites.
recently talked about the figures that came out between 2000 and 2002. Is the Real American Hero collection figures. I don't think this
It wasn't.
was part of it because he was carded with Big Ben.
Yeah, but it was the first line of figures. No, the second line of figures that was in the GI Joe versus Cobra green packaging.
Oh,
What happened was the first line of figures had the T crotch figures with the brand new, really super bulky sculpts.
yeah.
So the figures did not fit in most vehicles. Aside of the couple vehicles that came out with those initial releases, they didn't fit in most of the old vehicles because the sculpts were too bulky. They had T crotches, so they didn't articulate properly. And there were a lot of redesigns that people were just like, why? And so instead of bringing wave two of Joe versus Cobra out as scheduled, they pulled the plug on that, pushed them all back so they could all get so that they could retool, bring the O ring back, which was a tried and true feature of GI Joe since the beginning. Um, and they, as a placeholder wave, they took a bunch of the vintage sculpts and repainted them in new colors and repackaged them as 2 packs. And that Alley Viper was one of them. And holy shit, what a cool update to the Alley Viper.
Absolutely. Kind of that muted blue with gray, black, and white camo. It came with again that clip-on shield that's molded in the blue plastic that the face shield is. It came with a recast of the Cobra Twins rifle, and then a backpack. And I don't remember who had that backpack.
Big Bear.
Big Bear.
It was Big Bear's backpack.
Okay. I knew it was a figure I hadn't had before. So
yeah, Big Bear was repainted as Lieutenant Gorky in '98, and his backpack was included. So that backpack was on hand for them to use for the and that Crimson Twins giant ass pistol. What a poor weapons choice for an Alley Viper.
yeah, and he doesn't hold it very well.
I mean,
very...
it's a dumbass weapon in the first place. Yeah, I said it. It's a dumbass weapon in the first place. But for an urban assault trooper, it's just goofy.
And that's and like on all of these, like the version 2 on, I love the head sculpt on these.
Yeah, because again, it uses the '97. It's a repaint, so it uses the Duke version 1 with the Alley Viper upper half. But in those colors, that was a whole new look for the Alley Vipers, and I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's fantastic.
There was at the time that those were released, my friend Brad Rosen was such a big fan that he was army building them, and he was buying up all the 2 packs that he could find. I think he had like 25 of them at one point.
Jeez.
Yeah, he had an awful lot of Big Ben figures that he was parting with and using for customs and sending the people. I believe he was sending them when he had to send them something. He'd throw in a Big Ben figure with it.
Nice.
Yeah, he had a lot. He had a lot of. Yeah, he's not in the game anymore. I don't think he collects anymore. But yeah, at the time, he couldn't get enough of those damn Alley Vipers. His wife absolutely could. Yeah, she had more than enough of the Alley Vipers.
I'll bet.
But yeah, Brad couldn't get enough of them. So
all right. So the next one on the list is the version 6 Alley Viper. Again, that one came out in 2002, and again was carded with Big Ben.
it was that wave had running changes on all the figures. Most of the figures got second decos, and that was the same figure but red instead of blue, and the shield was black this time. But otherwise, honestly, not a big fan of that one.
I like it. I really like this one. I kind of like it better than the blue one, honestly. To me, this
I
is kind of it's kind of a precursor to the Pursuit of Cobra Alley Viper. It's almost the same colors, not quite. Definitely different proportions of the grays and reds, but to me, this is like an early version of the Pursuit of Cobra Alley Viper, and I really
yeah, I
like Pursuit of
I feel
Cobra.
like maybe if the mask and shield were red to match the maybe, but I don't. It doesn't clash or anything. I
No.
feel like it doesn't have. Um, I feel like the I feel at least the shield should have been red. I feel like it lost it, but I mean it's not bad. But I prefer the blue one.
I would have. I would really like to have seen the shield and the faceplates go done in the red, like the precursor was done in the blue. I think that would have made a huge difference. Like I said, I really like the figure, really like the color deco on it, but I would like it even more if the shield and faceplate had matched.
It's a good point though. You're right. It does have it. It's almost like maybe it had been one of the inspirations for the Pursuit of Cobra color scheme because you're right. It's similar.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's definitely different proportions, but it's almost the same. The shades are just a hair off, but it's almost the same color scheme. So let's go to the next one there, which is the version 7 Alley Viper. Again, it's the same mold. My dogs are going crazy. This is one. No, this one came out in a 2-pack. This one came out in 2003.
with the Sand Viper repaint.
Yeah, it's yes. For some reason, I thought this came out in one of the. There was an urban 6-pack with
Scrap Iron, Storm Shadow, the
the
Nullifier.
Nullifier version 3 Nullifier, which is a repaint of the Flak Viper.
That right there, that Alley Viper is one of my favorites. I love that color scheme. I
Yeah,
love that
absolutely.
particular blue. I love the blue and black combination. I love that figure. I have three of those figures.
I've seen them.
Um, I mine have black castings of the version one Alley Viper shield. Um,
Nice.
uh, our one of the guys in our collecting community, Scotty Williams,
Yes.
he casted them for me. But because the 2002 2003 figures use that softer plastic, his thumbs aren't going to break if he holds the version one shield.
Ah,
So I got him in black because I painted one and I'm like, this is a pain in the ass. So yeah, he casted it and now it's a perfect alley viper in my opinion. It's a bright, eye-catching blue. I love it. It's not particularly subtle, but it is beautiful.
and you know what? I mean, what I really like about it is, holy shit, it goes even better
Whoa,
with the rage than the one that came
whoa,
with it.
that is interesting.
It's
You're
the
right. It's
exact
got
same
the same.
colors.
Holy shit! I wonder if they did that on purpose.
I don't know.
Like
I
they,
was wondering the same thing.
like somebody at Hasbro really liked the '97 Rage, and they're like, "Huh? I wonder if the Alley Viper would work in that same color," and it did.
Yeah,
Shit,
absolutely.
that's
You need a
nice.
97 rage for those 3 alley vipers.
Um, perhaps. Yeah, I actually got those three Alley Vipers on eBay about 5 years ago, all together, and they were shipped like yeah, it was before the secondary market went
Stupid
through the
crazy.
stratosphere. So I got them as a set that didn't have any weapons, but again, this is why they had the shields that I added. But yeah, that is a beautiful Alley Viper.
Absolutely. Uh,
Um,
this is one, we talked about the last version about wishing that the faceplate and the shield had been molded in the color of the main color scheme. I actually like the black on this. I would
I
not
think the
change
black works there
anything.
with the rest of the body armor being black.
Yeah,
I think the black faceplate works nicely here.
agreed.
Um,
Again, came with the Big Bear backpack and a Crimson Twins rifle, and that's it. Uh, Nothing too spectacular as far as the equipment. I'm kind of a little disappointed that they moved away from the version 1 backpack, because it's iconic. I mean, at some point
Probably,
in time, I kind of would like to go back and get all of my guys version 1 backpacks, but
I I feel like that may have been a problem with lost tooling again.
that's kind of
Um,
what I was guessing too.
yeah, I feel like at some point, um, um, like they, um, you know, Leonard for a few years had a remarkably similar backpack coming with some of their O-ring figures. I think they made copies of some of the Hasbro molds at some point.
Ah,
So a lot of those guys ended up having similar backpacks, the grappling hooks attached. They're not the same molds. They're definitely copies, but um, yeah, you're right. The version 1 backpack with those figures would have been sweet.
yeah, absolutely. The next one that we've got on the list, there's the version 10 Alley Viper. Um, Came out in 2004. It was part of the Valor versus Venom line. So I mean, we took a complete left turn here. Mine doesn't seem to have all this gear with him. Uh, this was one that was single carded and came out. This was like a dollar. This is one of the dollar store figures, and technically, it's not Alley Viper. It's Alley Viper 2. So it was the whole premise was that it's like the second generation of the Alley Viper, and it's
And it is one of those textbook examples of short torso, long leg syndrome that a lot and long arm
yeah,
syndrome that a lot of the new sculpt era figures had. Those legs go on forever, and that torso is squat as all hell.
yeah,
He's so gawky
disproportionate.
looking.
Yeah.
Uh,
That being said, there's a lot to like about this figure. It is really nicely sculpted. The colors are nice. I like the color scheme on it. I love the head sculpt, and they did something that they hadn't done before, and that was he's got a removable knife in a sheath.
that
That
is
that is would I have to say it sets the tone of what eventually would be something that people would come to expect, and that's removable weapons. So sheaths and holsters for knives and pistols. So this is one of the first figures that has that. It's
and it's a
not
cool knife.
done.
Show the knife again.
But
I
yeah, the
love the
knife is
handle on it.
fantastic.
It's got the D guard on the handle.
Yeah, it's
That
that
is that is such a cool knife.
kind of a spiked knuckle.
Yeah, and that is so cool. Yeah, yeah, it's got the oh yeah, he could punch a guy with that, and then stab him.
Yeah, mine doesn't seem to have his gear. I'm not sure if it's because I got it just loose or if it's in the tub. But the equipment that he came with was a redo or a recast of the beachhead backpack, and then a rifle that came with like everybody, and then he came with a pistol as well. And I'm trying to think who that rifle came with. I think it was a version of beachhead originally too. I'm not positive on that. I don't seem to. I don't think I have one with me.
Green chair. I'm curious. I don't remember.
Okay, hang on a sec here. Let me pull it up.
I'm for my own curiosity.
Yeah, hang on a sec here. Working on that. Screen share. There we go.
Oh yeah, everybody, literally everybody came with that rifle. I
Yeah,
feel like um, that rifle was used for club figures later. Everybody in the all the 2 packs had one. I think yeah, that rifle was everywhere, and it's not even the nice rifle. It's not a good sculpt. Just
it's kind of a shitty sculpt of. I believe that's. I'm not 100%. Somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that's supposed to be a G36 with a kind of an M203 slung underneath. and then a sight sculpted onto the top. It's a cool concept because I do like that rifle, and I like the fact that it's got a grenade launcher under there. It's just a really soft sculpt, and it's really soft plastic, and it does not work well. Or if that is a G36, Marauder has a nicer version of that. It doesn't have the grenade launcher, but that's easily fixed. So if you could go back and retrofit these guys with a way nicer weapon.
So
And
this also means that this is the first ever alley Viper that did not include a shield.
that's true. Yes.
So an urban trooper without a riot shield is an odd choice.
Everything is kind of odd about this one. I think that one of the reasons it doesn't come with a lot of gear is because it is one of the dollar store figures. It came on one of the really small cards that was
Oh,
available only at like Dollar General or
okay. So it's the Valor versus Venom subtitle, the
yes.
line that, but it was not in the two. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because remember Dollar Tree and Family Dollar was carrying those figures.
There you go. Those are the two. I couldn't think of the name of the store.
Yeah,
But yeah,
because Valor versus Venom Stalker,
there's a
um,
Duke, I
the
think.
Sand Viper. Yeah, another Sand Viper. Yeah, there was
Yes,
a Duke figure. Yeah, they all got
I
at
haven't
least
seen the
semi
Viper.
repaints. There was a Night Reaper in like three different colors. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
They're
they
they're
were all.
they're not bad figures. I mean,
No,
especially for
no, they're not bad. But yeah, they suffered in the gear department more than the two packs did.
yeah.
So yeah, you're right. That probably is why there's no shield. So
Yeah, and I don't know where his gear is, so I might have to track some gear down for him because I thought all of my guys were complete, but I had a hell of a time. There was one guy. Uh, oh, his knife just fell out. There we go. So yeah, easily lost part is that knife.
yeah, yeah, don't take it out of the holster unless you have to.
Yeah.
Um,
So the 4 5, I think the version 5 figure, I had a hell of a time getting gear for that. I ended up buying a second figure just to get the gear. So for like easily lost parts, um, the face plates are pretty easy to get because there's a ton of them that were sculpted in black and the shields too. But any of the ones that were uniquely colored, like the version 3 or that came in orange or the version 5 that was in that blue, those are tougher to get because there were fewer of them. Uh, so that is the version 10, I believe. Yeah, version 10 was that dollar store Valor versus Venom. Uh, I don't know why these are out of order. So yeah, that was version 10. So let's go back to version 8 for a minute. I'm using Yo Joe custom or Yo Joe as to put these in order, and they're out of order on Yo Joe. So
the heck? All
yeah,
right, weird.
it is kind of weird. So let's go back to because I'm like, wait a minute, what about version 8 and 9? Let's talk about
Okay.
9.
Well, I was thrown for a second because I'm like, I swear the first Valor versus Venom Alley Viper was in a two pack with a Viper.
And you are 100% correct about that. And this is
Ah,
that particular figure. It came with two Scorpion pistols and that knife. The Scorpion pistols aren't too bad. Again, Marauder has redone that version of the pistol. I gave that to my Dr. Mindbender custom recently. I think it's a really nice sculpt. So if you want to go back and retrofit your guys, I can't recommend Marauder enough.
so he's got the same amazing knife.
Yes,
Um,
and I'm
but
not
that
taking that out because I don't want to lose that one.
that blue is not a bad shade. But I mean, you can see from version 8 to version 10, all they did was because the yellow is the same, right?
Yeah,
They left the gray and the yellow and they just made it red instead of that blue. Yeah, that blue's not bad.
yeah.
It's
No,
just
I don't dislike this at all.
it
This is one
suffers
of
the
the
same.
first figures that I started getting into customizing when the Joe versus when the Valor versus Venom line was prevalent in the stores. I had just missed the Joe versus Cobra line, but so V versus V was when I really started getting into customizing. So I had bought a ton of these guys for customs. Um, One of the things that customizers used to like to do was to do torso extensions by taking this apart because it's still an O-ring figure. So it still has a screw in the back and is easily disassembled. And then they would take sculpting material and sculpt uh, another, maybe half an inch onto the bottom of the torso to give it
I
an
I
extension.
did that stuff later with the DTC stuff. I started because a former friend of mine introduced me to the green stuff, epoxy, and it. Yeah, I used to do torso extensions and then
Sean, I'm guessing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then paint to match. If I'm not mistaken, isn't that the Alley Viper that had the real tall platform boots on?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, yeah. I I always felt like he was channeling Kiss there.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that. And like, I bet Gene Simmons has a pair of those boots.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, because they've got the spiked teeth looking.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like there was some design inspiration there. Maybe it was a subconscious design thing that whoever sculpted it at Hasbro kind of had it in mind. Maybe it was indirect, but yeah, he definitely got some platforms.
Yeah, definitely. Again, that's the only gear he came with was the two pistols and the knife. Um, both
So
they're
that was the
really
first
small,
Alley
so easily
Viper,
easily
not
lost.
to include a shield.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, not a bad combo there. Goes pretty
Uh,
well with that 97 Rage.
Does he fit in there with those long ass legs?
He
I'm just
does.
kidding. You don't have. Oh, he does. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it fits in there pretty well. Because even though they have the long ass legs and the proportions look just absolutely wonky, he's actually shorter than the O-ring
Oh,
figures
oh
by
wow. What the heck?
significantly.
That's crazy. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he sure is. Oh,
yeah.
that's
No,
cool.
he's significantly smaller. So that was one of the things that I customized. I don't remember. I just remember doing it. I don't have any of those customs anymore. I don't even have pictures of those customs anymore. Was giving him bulkier legs because I really did like this figure when it came out. Um, I thought it was a neat update for the Alley Viper. I didn't see the torso, the short torso, the just absolutely wonky proportions at the time. I just thought, that's kind of a like slimmer, more not futuristic, but a nice update for the Alley Viper, and I liked it at the time. I still do. Um, it definitely is a lot harder to look past those proportions nowadays, but at the time, man, I really like this figure. One
I
of the
don't
cool
help
things
anything
about
when I point it out.
yeah,
It's a hang up of mine. I when figures have real wonky proportions, like the feet are too smaller, it does it's a hang up I've got. So
and yeah, most of the time I don't notice that until JD says something, and then it's like,
it's
god
my
damn it!
fault.
Now there's a splinter in my brain, and it's gonna bother me. Um, the
Sorry.
previous version of this figure and this particular figure have a real cool um, Cobra Campo on the side.
Oh yeah, look at that. Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, kind of. Which vehicle has that? It's the water moccasin has one sort of similar to that, I think. But yeah, no, it's
The moray. The
more right.
moray. Yeah, it's
Yes, there
got
you
the snake like yeah, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Um, I
so
didn't remember that detail about the Alley Viper. So
yeah, the other one, the previous version has that as well.
oh, it does. Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool.
yeah.
And
So I kind of moved away from the Cobra sigil and kind of went with that. Well, no, it does have a no, it doesn't. I thought it had a Cobra. Gosh, he's got loose. Well, that figure stand's just gone into oblivion somewhere. I'll have to look for it after the show. Anyway, I was thinking he had a Cobra sigil sculpted in somewhere, but he does not. Um, there's still surprisingly amount of good detail sculpted into these figures, despite the wonky proportions. I think they're nicely sculpted. Let's see. So that was the version 8. So let's go back to no, not go back to, but let's go to version 9, um, which is a super cool version, in my opinion. This came out in 2004. Was a part of a Toys R Us exclusive Cobra Strike team. This is the urban.
The six pack that we referenced earlier.
Yeah, see, I thought the blue one came with that, but no, it was this particular bloke here, and he is black with brown accents. I'm not keen on the brown accents because it kind of looks like leather, and who wears leather body armor? But
Um,
the black looks fantastic on this. On
yeah,
this,
all the figures in that six pack, except for the nullifier, I believe, had like the leather brown highlights, and it was an odd choice. I was a little put off by it then. The nullifier in that set, which was the Flak Viper repaint, was all dark blue and black, and I think the rest of the figures were primarily black with the
yeah.
leather. That's not a bad Alley Viper, but
It's very
yeah, I don't.
reminiscent of the version one Headhunter.
Oh yeah. Oh, I wonder if that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I was kind of
Um,
wondering that because it's an urban set, so it kind of would fit in with the
that actually, yeah, that's
EDF stuff.
that. Huh. Yeah, I wonder if they took some kind of cue from that.
Yeah, I was kind
Because
of
yeah,
wondering that myself.
they had the all black with the leather boots and stuff. So
And we took a step back from the goofy proportions, obviously, to go with the O-ring set. These, like I was saying, these were Toys R Us exclusive packs. For the accessories, we're back to the Crimson Twins rifle, the clip-on shield, and the Big Bear backpack again. And then the shield and the faceplate are black. I'm glad they went with the black instead of the accessory color of the brown. I think that would look
oh,
really fucking weird with the brown.
that shield would have looked truly awful in that brown.
Yeah,
I don't think a leather Cobra sigil would have been all that imposing.
no, I don't think so. Maybe in San Francisco, but that's about it.
Now that backpack might have been interesting if it was in the brown leather.
Yeah, okay,
But
I'd go with that. I like it better in the black, but I could see that having that backpack in brown might not be a bad choice either. All right, so that was the version 9 Alley Viper. And that would be the last Alley Viper we'd see for quite a long time. Um, because the version 10 was okay, so it wasn't the last. The version 10 was this is the version 10. So we kind of got out of order there. So the version 8 was the blue version, Joe versus Cobra one. The 9 was the black one we just showed, and then this is the 10 version 10, which is the other Joe versus Cobra one, and that would be the last Alley Viper we would see for quite some time because the next Alley Viper that came out in 2009, and that was the version 11, and that came out with the attack on or the is it attack on Cobra Island pack?
defense of Cobra Island.
Defense of Cobra, yeah. The Joe was the attack on Cobra Island. So yeah,
Yeah.
And this is an absolute fantastic figure. The I don't know that the sculpt, particularly on the legs, held up over time, but the rest of the figure, I just love this figure. The body
That
armor,
vest, that vest is cool.
the vest is removable. It has a removable knife on the body armor. He has a removable knife on his right arm. Those were sculpted on details of the version 1. He has the version 1 shield. They fixed the handle on that so it wouldn't bust thumbs off anymore. And of course, at this point in time, we're using a softer plastic, and you're not going to bust thumbs anyway. And they did something with
Got a nightstick
yeah, he's got a
stashed
nightstick
in
that
there.
fits into the shield, which I think is an awesome, awesome feature. I saw that the first time. I'm like, man, that is sweet. And not only that, they still kind of went with the version 1 helmet that covers his whole face, but it's removable.
And he's got a spiffy balaclava underneath the
This does. Mine is missing the removable grappling launcher, just because they don't stay on the pack for shit on these.
So you have one, it's just not with it.
Yeah, I got
Okay.
a bunch of them. Um,
Um,
it's
yeah,
in that tackle box. They just do not stay on the backpack.
yeah, they were supposed to peg into the backpack, but they don't align properly. So yeah, they just drop right off of it.
The rifle is sort of reminiscent of the version one, but one of the kind of the goofy things about the version one rifle was the off centered, or the magazine for it is not under the rifle itself. It's off to the side, so it makes that rifle extremely hard to hold. So while this is not a resculpt or a recast of the version one rifle, I kind of like it better because it's not as awkward as that version one rifle was. Um, Again, the legs didn't really hold up over time as well as I would have liked, but I still think it's a fantastic figure. It's definitely one of the best versions.
Those legs were used for the 25th anniversary update of the version 3 Snake Eyes
Yes,
that had the crossed swords on his chest. So um that figure was a little on the skinny side. So reusing those legs made those skinny legs. It's offset from the Alley Viper. He's not beefy enough
agreed.
with those
Yeah,
legs.
he's been skipping leg day too much, so
Yep.
that is my only like hang up on these is every time I look at
There's
these, I'm like, man, those legs just don't work.
oh, there were definitely more appropriate legs they could have used. A little bit bulkier. I mean, they were Frankensteining all the parts together,
Yeah,
anyways. Um, but yeah, I feel like those legs are the only thing that really throw it off. And unfortunately, those legs were used again with more of the later Alley Vipers, but in different colors. It's not as apparent.
right. Um, but to me, the removable gear is just like that's what seals the deal for me. I love
I
removable gear.
That six pack included a lamprey,
Mm,
a Dr. Mindbender, a really awful 25th
oh,
version of
that
Dr.
that
Mindbender.
head sculpt is horrid.
But it also included a range viper,
Yes.
and what else was in that set?
Uh, Dr. Mindbender. Um, Hang on a second. I've got it right here.
I can't remember, but I remember at the time there
Dr.
was like
Mindbender, Range Viper, Lamprey. What's the other one? I completely lost it. Hang on. I'm pulling it up. Hang on just a sec.
there was
Came
an
with a bat
oh, that's
and a
right,
Night
yeah.
Creeper and Strato Viper,
Oh, that's right, yeah. So
which they must have lost the trade trademark to because it's they call that an air viper. So
yeah, they did. That was there was an outcry at the time. People really wanted those alley vipers and range vipers and
to army build them.
night creepers, and there was an outcry that why did you put them in these sets that were exclusive to the online stores?
Yeah.
And that alley viper and that range viper got they ended up being repainted a couple times each, and that's because the demand was huge for them. And I really feel like those were two that in the 25th anniversary line, there's no reason they couldn't have been single carded figures like the bat and the Crimson Guard, and that Alley Viper would have sold gangbusters
Yeah.
on a card.
Yeah. Same with the Range Viper, I think.
Yeah, I
At least for
really
me, I would have bought I would have bought a shitload of those Range Vipers. But that's just me. I think the Range Viper is one of the definitely one of the figures that I would like to do on this specific show, just because it's one of my favorite figures. There are definitely not as many versions, but there are some definitely cool versions of it, and some of those are pretty hard to get. Um, like the one JD was talking about that they recolored um, as part of one of the recolored 25th versions only came with the whirlwind, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was one of the towards the tail end of that line. And those did not make it to Target like they were supposed to, but they did fall off the truck at Ross, and I was able to pick up one at Ross. So I have one. Well, obviously I have one of that particular range viper. One of the other hard ones to get was the range viper that came with the version 2 flak viper that was part of the Flaming Moth series, which is also a cool figure.
Oh yeah. But that Alley Viper, honestly, out of that set, other than the skinny legs, there's nothing else wrong with it. It
No,
did everything the version 1 did,
and it did it better.
and brought it into the new millennium.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to agree with that. I think it did what the like I said, like JD says, the legs are hard to overlook, but I think it did what the version 1 did. It just does it better. The removable helmet is fantastic. The removable body armor, 2 removable knives.
And the
shield
knives
isn't going to break your thumbs.
And those knives stayed in the sheaths. They didn't fall out easily. You couldn't really lose them.
No. And then the nightstick built into the shield. Now that does tend to fall out. So that's well, not necessarily a commonly lost part. You got to be careful with that because it does not stay in the shield very well. And so that is, what version was that? That was the version 11. So that brings us up to the version 12, which is probably one of my least favorite Alley Vipers, just because it doesn't look like an Alley Viper. And that is the version 12, and that came out in the Resolute line, and it came out in 2010, and it was packaged with Baroness, Cobra Commander, Destro, Firefly, which I also detest, Storm Shadow, and Zartan. That Zartan's actually pretty cool, though.
That Zartan is cool. And I'm not biased because there's been some shitty versions of Zartan, but yeah, that is an Alley Viper in name only.
Yeah.
Although it does use the color scheme from that 2002 Alley Viper, minus the urban camo. But I mean, they use the color scheme, which is nice, but nothing about the design is an Alley Viper. The helmet's bad for an Alley Viper. That body armor, while cool, it's just not Alley Viper.
I was going to say that. JD kind of beat me to the punch on that. To me, it doesn't look like an Alley Viper, but it is a cool troop builder figure.
Yeah, it's an awesome.
Love the sculpt of it.
If you can get past the itty bitty, teensy weensy feet that it has, that looks like they're wearing goddamn slippers, house slippers, mind you. I mean, it's a great army builder. It's a shitty Alley Viper.
100% agree with JD on that one. The weapons that it comes with are absolute hot garbage. Everybody came with that particular rifle, and even more people came with that particular rifle, and they're both shit.
Hey, I like that. I like that giant shitty shotgun that he's got. It's awful, but I like it because it's awesome.
I hate it. I have like 100 of those laying around.
I hate the submachine gun. I hate the submachine gun.
It's funny because I was every once in a while I'll just sit down and look at the deck of my flag, and some of the figures I've bought complete, some of them I've just got because they were good deals and they were incomplete. So I've sat down and it's like, who's missing what weapons? And this is one of the guys that I sat down with Yojo. I'm like, okay, what is this particular Alley Viper missing? Oh, he's missing his weapons. You know what? I had a million of these fucking things. He was super easy to equip. The one thing that I do really like about this figure is he does have a removable helmet, and the goggles do come off of that helmet.
Oh, they do? Okay. I wondered about that. Because
and he's got
I had that figure. I mean, I had that set back in 2010, but I don't remember really anything in particular about it. So
I would take those goggles off to show that they are removable. But man, once you take goggles off, they tend to fall off and don't come back. So
the only figures
of the vest. like I said, I think this is a fin and the shoulders and the armor. I think this is a fantastically sculpted figure. It just does nothing for me as an alley viper.
Yeah, it's just it's uh
No
it's
right, no shield, no backpack. It does to me. Those are trademark hallmarks of an alley viper, and this does not have those. So yeah, the color scheme, I do like the color scheme because like JD says, it is almost identical to the 2002 figure, but yeah, no, it's just I don't know, it's not an alley viper. It's a nice Cobra troop builder, but as an alley viper, it just doesn't work. Which brings us to the version 13 alley viper, which
your
was
favorite, right?
uh you know I it's I'm gonna say my second favorite just because the version one is the quintessential LA Viper for me.
No, I mean it's your favorite aside of like it's your favorite update.
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
were all about this. You've got a few of these, right?
I army built this guy. I probably
Yeah.
bought 10 or 15 of these guys. I've since used most of them for customs. I still have probably 5 or 6 that are incomplete. I probably have enough gear to complete at least 2 of them. I was going to sit down and look at that in the next couple of days. But yeah, man, I love this figure. The color scheme is amazing. This screams urban assault trooper to me.
Those those skinny legs are much less obvious in black and
Yes.
gray than they
Yes.
were in the orange and blue. But that right there. That's the defensive Cobra Island figure repainted in brand new colors with well, like look at that. He's got the Kevlar and the goggles from that previous Alley Viper
Yes.
that you can swap out and you can re-equip him to make him more of a standard
And that's
trooper.
one of the things that I love about this particular figure is you have 3 options for helmets on him or headgear as it were. He's got of course, obviously the faceplate swings up, like the defensive Cobra Island trooper does. So, and it's the same head sculpt. All right, so we were talking about the different options for the Alley Viper here when our timer went out, and because we were not paying attention to it, so that's one of the things we're gonna have to remedy. Because yeah, none of us were paying attention to that. So you've
All
got
right.
the regular version of the helmet, which is removable, obviously, and then as JD mentioned, it came with a is that the same scope? I guess it is. I guess I didn't really recognize that. So it came
If
with
it's not the same, it's pretty similar.
yeah, actually it is. So it came with the helmet with the removable goggles. So that is a different option for it. And yeah, see that grappling hook is supposed to peg into the backpack, and it doesn't. It just doesn't. And then for the third option, uh, it had a gas mask.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I mean, this figure is super playable with all of the removable equipment, 3 different pieces of headgear, the knife, the 2 knives, the body armor, and of course the backpack. And the color scheme is just fantastic.
I like the paint deco on the shield
Yeah,
with the
striping,
yeah, that's an interesting detail.
and he's got
Um
that on the right leg too.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I had one of those figures. I don't now. But I didn't it's a really cool figure. Um I I'm
yeah, like your buddy. Every time I saw one, I in the store. I was picking one up.
yeah, it's a great figure that I only bought one of because um it's rare when I army build. Um I have to either really like a trooper class or I have to really like a particular figure. But even then, sometimes I only buy one or two. But that Alley Viper, I didn't have an easy time finding one of those. and it
Yeah, see,
wasn't
I
one
got
that I was
lucky. They
going to be
were all
tracked
over
down
the place
online.
here. Yeah, I got lucky. They were all over the place here, so I had no problem picking that one up. Yeah,
You
I still have a bunch. I customized a bunch, used a bunch of them in other customs. But yeah, I've probably got enough to put another one or two together complete.
mostly what I found here was a lot of Arctic destros.
Oh man, yeah, you know that Arctic Destro is super expensive right now, and yeah, it peg warmed here, and then
I was going to say, for being an Arctic trooper, it kept the pegs awfully warm.
absolutely.
That thing was
The year that that was
Recondo.
out, the year that that
Recondo
was
was
out, I cleaned out Walmart. I bought all of them and gave them to Toys to Tots for Tots that
yeah.
year.
Recondo was in pretty big numbers here too, but
See, I had a hard
yeah,
time getting mine.
I didn't see a lot of the Alley Viper or the Zartan or anything, but yeah, that Destro, woof. It made me wish that I needed that I was an army builder, because I would have made them Destro's personal troopers who wore his matching helmet or something, because a lot of those.
And then last and kind of almost least is the Alley Viper that came with, or not came with, but came out in the GI Joe Retaliation line in 2013. The one piece of gear that I don't have with mine is it came with a little zip line thing. I probably have it somewhere. I just hated it and didn't give a shit about it.
Oh, I didn't remember this version until you held it up. It's so meh.
Yeah.
I don't. That
The
web
one
gear
thing
was
that
available with everybody.
the one thing that they kind of did that I don't hate is they made the legs work a lot better because they used a slimmer torso. It's kind of the I think Duke or Flint used this particular torso.
Oh, right.
Line.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a futuristic armored torso, and then they used the
Oh, that's why they used that shitty web gear, was because
yeah.
that's right. He had torso armor already sculpted. I remember that now.
I don't hate this web gear. I actually like this particular set of web gear. This came with the Jungle Duke.
No, I like that web gear when they first started putting it with figures, but by the 45th figure that had that, I had just come to resent it altogether.
Yeah, mine's missing his nightstick, which pegs into the shield again. And he came with a real nice M4. I do like the weapon that he came with. He definitely came with like a very urban assault weapon, which silenced M4 with the foregrip. I do like that. I don't hate this Alley Viper. And I've got a neat little no paint fix for you. If you don't like that body gear, hang on one second. Let me get it. I thought I had it here sitting here and I don't.
Yeah, I gotta say that's one Alley Viper that does nothing for me. Not as an Alley Viper, nor as a figure. It's just kind of there.
Actually, I did have it sitting here. No, that isn't it. Oh, bitch.
General geekery, folks. General.
Yeah, hang on one second. Let me see if I got it. I thought I had it sitting aside and I didn't.
I always say nobody's watching us for our technical expertise nor our competence. It's the conversation that keeps you all coming back, I'm pretty sure. And if that's not the case, well, nobody break my delusion. Okay, thanks. Bye.
All right, sorry about that. So I've got a. It's not a cheap fix, unfortunately. But if you've got one laying around and you just love your Alley Vipers more than the other figure that this particular piece of equipment came with, it's a nice little fix. And that is the body armor that came with the
Mercer.
25th anniversary Mercer. The colors are identical. So
not only is it not a cheap fix, but Mercer was part of the 7-pack, a 7-pack from Big Bad Toy Store,
Yeah,
which
what
had
was it?
Sergeant Slaughter's Renegades and Sergeant Slaughter's Marauders. And if you can find that figure for less than the cost of a car, or that pack for less than the cost of a car, well, my hat is off to you, because even those figures individually go for a mint now.
They do.
So that Mercer figure that used that particular vest, that will probably set you back some money, and that seems an awful lot of money to pay just to re-outfit uh, uh, a meh Ellie Viper. In fact, I'm going to call it the Melly Viper.
I would agree with that if I wasn't
Please,
such a
God.
huge LA Viper fan. Yeah, like I said, it's not a cheap fix for sure, but I had bought a couple of those sets, so I had it kicking around, and it looks nice.
It does. It really does. It matches nicely.
It's a nice fix
And
for
it
a
probably
mid
fits
figure.
better over that torso too.
Yeah.
Um,
So, well, like I said, like it's not a cheap fix, but it's kind of reminiscent of the.
it is not as well
Oh,
done.
and I was going to compare this one to the Pursuit Cobra figure too.
Uh, yeah, that you know what? Maybe they did take some cues from that for the. Yeah, I never noticed the connection, but
I didn't
interesting.
either until I had them all sitting here. But yeah, not a cheap fix, but if you have this stuff laying around like I did, and you're a big Alley Viper fan like I am, I'm going to leave that on there. I like it a lot better than the web gear he came with. He doesn't look
Well,
so slimmed down anymore.
I'm not a massive. I mean, I like the Alley Vipers. Don't get me wrong. Well, they're not a favorite troop class of mine. Um, that is one version of the Alley Viper right there that is infinitely passable. Um,
And I've got an extra backpack for him, so from all the Pursuit of Cobra Alley Viper, so I'm going to kit him out. And I think this, with that vest and a decent backpack, I think this is going to be a nice figure. So taking a
if you can salvage it, I'll be interested to see it.
so well that rounds out the Alley Viper. We still have a couple figures left to go, and that whoops is the Alley Viper. Let me see. Is that commander or do they call those officers? Let me look here. I'm gonna pull those up real quick. Alley Viper officer. The Alley Viper officer is what they're calling those. Um, and the first Alley Viper officer came out in 2010, and that came with the Pursuit of Cobra Fury, which was kind of a retool slash repaint of the Cobra Rage. And here is the Cobra Officer, version 1 Cobra Officer. I really like the color scheme on this. It's muted grays and black and a darker maroon, similar color but darker than the Pursuit of Cobra maroon for the helmet. He came with 2 knives in the helmet. That's the only gear he came with, obviously, because vehicle driver.
I never saw a Cobra Fury in the store. I wanted one because again, it was an update to the Cobra Rage, but I never saw one. But
We've got a funny story about that because I was at Walmart and I'm like, hey, they have a Cobra Fury. I picked it up, I set it down, texted JD, hey, they have a Cobra Fury. Do you want it? I walked around the aisle. JD texted me about halfway. He's like, yeah, get it for me. I walked back around and it was gone.
Yep.
Set it down for 2 minutes and somebody picked it up. And
so I never saw one, and I consequently don't have one because some greedy bastard that was also shopping nonchalantly at the same time Brian was decided, well, fuck that guy in New York. I don't think he deserves this. It's mine. All right. There may not have been any thought on the other person's part whatsoever to foil me. Curses. But I feel like the universe said, no. So,
What's also kind of funny is I bought one of these loose recently because I didn't think I still had mine for some reason, and I found it the other day.
I
His helmet is not with him, but I'm pretty sure I have seen his helmet kicking around here somewhere. I just haven't found it yet. But I've got a second one without the helmet. So
after Brian got
these are
that in the
really
mail.
hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, after Brian got that in the mail, he sent me a picture of it, like sitting on his kitchen counter. He texted me, and I'm like, "What the hell, Alley Viper is that?" Because I had no memory of it at all.
Yeah.
Having not had that tank, I did not remember what the driver looked like at all. So I, I was like, "It's not a club version." Yeah, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have pegged it as a driver either. I would have figured it was yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It
Still uses the
certainly got
shitty
the
leg, but I really like the color scheme on this. I think this is another one that would be, I need to give him some gear and make him a regular Alley Viper instead of a driver. I have no idea where that Fury went. Um, I'm missing a bunch of my vehicles. I know I had a Stellar Stiletto that I bought for a custom. It's gone. Um, there was another vehicle that I'm just sure that I know I have or had. I can't find that one either. I don't remember what it was, but I was looking for it the other day, and it's just gone. But yeah, I really like this one. The colors are really cool on this. Not an easy figure to get a hold of. And if that's not an easy figure to get a hold of, another one that is super hard to get a hold of is the Alley Viper Officer version 2.
and this thing is fugly as all get out.
I kind of like it. The orange and black just kind of works.
Well, that's why I sometimes you gotta love a fugly figure, but it is
Uh,
a fugly figure.
they went with the retaliation build, so it's got that different torso, and that same web gear as the retaliation version of the Alley Viper, but it's got that silver helmet, and then yeah, it's orange and black. I actually like the color scheme. I'm not a huge fan of that web gear.
I
really
don't
wish this had come with the regular.
I don't know why. I don't understand why that shield is painted oppositely as the because the figure is mostly black with orange splotches of camo, and then you got this bright orange shield with these giant splotches of black camo. And I feel like either the figure should have been painted like that or the shield should have been painted like the figure. There's a weird discontinuity there
Yes,
that sets my
and the helmet does not
my
help
mild
because it
OCD
is.
off.
Yeah,
So,
and the helmet doesn't help because it's a silver that is found nowhere else on the figure except maybe the armband.
but even then, on the armbands and the knee pads, they're painted silver, so they don't match the silver of the helmet, which is cast in the silver marble or vaguely marbleized plastic. What's the backpack that it's got on?
He has the regular.
Okay, so he does have the Pursuit of Cobra backpack.
Yeah,
But or
I don't
the Cobra
remember
Island
if he came
backpack.
with the. I think that double check. I'm pretty sure that came with the grappling launcher. Mine doesn't have the grappling launcher on there. I'm not sure if that's because it didn't come with one or if it's because it falls off and I just have it stashed.
That is
Quick.
that is a bizarre alley viper. I don't
Actually, you know
I,
what? And he comes with this weapon too, the scar, which I really
okay.
like. That's one of my favorite sculpted. This I don't usually use GI Joe weapons in my customs, but this is one weapon that I use frequently for customs. And no, he does not come with this backpack.
Okay, so all right, so an alley okay. Um
So I
I
gave
mean
him that backpack.
I it's not a terrible figure, but it was odd in every way. It's very haphazard.
Talk about the
Uh
rest of the set.
huh?
Talk about the rest of the set. What else did he come with? Because it's a
Uh
convention exclusive set. It came with a bunch of stuff.
there was
He
an
came in
AVAC officer which was basically um, the AVAC helmet
On a
head
Crimson
on
Guard
a
torso.
Crimson Guard torso, and there were some other Frankenstein legs on it, and there were Frankenstein arms. Oh, he had the shitty arms from the 25th anniversary Flash that a bunch of figures used, and those arms were awful on every figure that it was used on. And so they didn't match the torso, the Crimson Guard torso. It was the
Colors are
Crimson
nice
Guard
on it. I like the
torso.
colors on it. It's a cool looking.
Yeah, no, the color scheme is fine, but it uses the Crimson Guard torso, but it does not have the belt. So there's a gap there that shouldn't be there, and but that AVAC helmet does not go with the rest of the figure. Um, and it was included with uh, a set that
Steeler and
was,
Grunt.
yeah, well, yeah, Steeler and Grunt were the Joe side of it. I have that set because it included a Cobra Hiss tank in green, because basically Steeler and Grunt stole the Hiss tank and they repainted it in green.
And
So
doesn't it
it
have
was,
a unique gun though? The gun is new, isn't it? On that.
yeah, it's got a railgun attached to it. It's got like a futuristic railgun looking. It's the only Hiss that I believe used that particular gun. But
As far as I
yeah,
know, yeah, I think that
basically
was the only one that.
Steeler painted the Hist so that it looked more like the Mobat.
Yes.
And that's cool. The Steeler figure's cool. The Grunt figure's okay. Um, and I believe the Cobra side, I think the AVAC, because it's one of
Came with
those
the Sky
weird,
Striker
yeah, the 30th
silver with
Sky
the red
Striker.
accents, which is it's a really cool looking plane.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, it was silver and it had the red paint job and the snakes painted on it. And that's right. That is the first and only Sky Striker I have ever owned, and it's because I bought that set.
Do you still have that?
Um, yeah, it doesn't have the tail fins on it. The
Did you
tail
lose those?
fins, the tail fins were separate pieces, and they both got lost.
Oh,
Um, but the rest of the vehicle is in my storage bin in the basement with some of the other vehicles I've got, because that it was an interesting color scheme, but like I said, it was the first and only Sky Striker I've ever owned. Um, but I remember opening that set. Look, I bought that set for a green Hiss tank because I
yeah.
love me a Hiss tank. Um,
And I'm a Sky Striker guy, so
well,
I was kind of
and
bummed that I didn't get that Sky Striker.
let's put it this way. I like that green Hiss tank. I mean, I bought it for the green Hiss tank, but my son at the time, he was he was a little guy, and I bought it after the fact. I didn't buy it when it was an exclusive that summer, but I bought it after the fact because it wasn't insanely priced at the time. So I bought it, and my son, I think he was 3 or 4
Yeah, I was
at the
gonna say
time.
I think it was 4.
Because he's 9 now. Yeah, so this was, yeah, I think it was 4. He liked the green tank so much that he kept wanting to play with it, and I just wanted to keep one that was in decent shape, because I'd gone on Toy Hacks and I had bought the reproduction Mobat stickers so
Oh,
I could
right.
outfit Steelers his tank with Mobat
I
stickers.
like that idea.
And so I went online and I found a second green his tank by itself with nothing else included, and I got it for cheap so that my son could have his green his tank and I could keep mine uh up on the shelf where it was, because he kept wanting me to take it down, which was fine, but I didn't want anything to happen to it. Then I had to buy the stickers again and all that, and I don't have the follow through for that nonsense. So, yeah, so he got a second one. But I remember when I opened that set up, having bought it for the Hiss, I like Steeler and I really like the Grunt figure, and I was less than enthused with both of the Cobras. Um, the AVAC officer, I wound up giving a different head to, and different pilot gear too, and I turned him into an individual character. Um, because first of all, I'm not a big fan of the AVAX, and they don't need an officer. I don't care that much.
Yeah.
So I made him into an individual character that I don't remember any particular details about. That's how much that character resonated with me.
Right.
And then the Alley Viper, I started customizing it, but whatever I was trying to make with it at the time failed. So when Brian asked me if I happened to have one of those figures, I'm like, I did, but no, not
Yeah,
anymore.
because it's like every
So
time I start hunting these down, I'm like, ooh, I wonder if JD has one of these laying around.
and sometimes I do, but
Yeah.
not
But yeah, so that concludes the 4-inch line of the Alley Vipers. I think that is really the diversity in the figures, even though, half of them use the same mold as the V2. The color schemes just, I mean, it's a diverse
well,
line. I really love the Alley Vipers, and they've done so many cool things with these over the years. And even the ones that
well,
aren't particularly cool definitely still have some mystique to them for me.
yeah, I mean, well, and it just goes to show that a different paint job can really change your figure. Um, um, so well, and we'll just throw it in there. Um, the classified Alley Viper, which
Let's
people,
throw it in there.
yeah, I mean, people, a lot of people have army built them. I have one. I don't particularly need any more. It's great for what it is. It's a perfect 6-inch scale update to what they did with version 1 of the Alley Viper, and it channels that figure and it does everything properly. It just isn't one that I need more than one of, but
I think I
I
have
mean, it's pretty.
I have 4 of them.
Yeah, it's pretty
I'm
goddamn fantastic.
as much as I like said I'm not buying 6-inch figures, and I very rarely buy 6-inch figures, even though I've gone back on that. I have 4 of these guys. I have this one here, which is loose. I kept one in the box um, that I forgot I had. So when they popped up on Amazon for retail price, I'm like, yeah, what the hell? I'll just get another one to have it, keep it in the box.
Yeah,
So I like the art.
Brian texted me. He's like, "Do I need another Alley Viper?" I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Their retail price." I'm like, "Absolutely, you need another one." 2 days later, he texts me. He's like, "Oh, it turns out I had another one, so I'm getting a fourth one." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Does that include the one that you customized?" He's like, "No." I'm like, "Ah,
it
okay."
does.
Um, no, at the time,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, it's
yeah. I'm
fine.
like, "Does that include the one?" You're like, "No." And then you got the one from Amazon, and you're like, "Okay, yeah, not now." I'm like, "I think you're good on Alley Vipers now." But I mean, for what it is, fantastic.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a
if you like
beautiful
an Alley
figure. We've
Viper
got
and
a
you like a six
removable
inch
pistol
figure,
on
well,
the hip. There's a removable knife on the arm. Removable knife on the body armor. Body armor comes off. It's got the faceplate that swings up. The helmet is not removable on this, like it was on the Defense of Cobra Island figure, but the faceplate's nice. It comes with the like traditional V1 backpack. The grappling hook gun actually pegs into this quite well. The shield is pretty awesome. It doesn't have like the nightstick sculpted into it, like or pegging into it. There is no nightstick, but it doesn't have that like the um, defend like the 25th and Pursuit of Cobra figures do. But it has a real cool like sticker in there that's like a heads up display, which I think is really awesome.
I have one, and I made a modification to mine. I can't stand the brown shin pads
Ah,
that one has. Um, they're sculpted to look. They look a little off center, anyways. And I thought that the brown color scheme made it more obvious, so I just painted them black, more
oh,
like version 1. Well, because the
it's
brown
weird.
shin pads were definitely based on the 25th anniversary version
Oh, yeah, that's a good
from
point.
that because he's got the brown pads on his boots. But
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean, otherwise, yeah. So whether you like the brown or whether you like the black doesn't really matter. I mean, it's a great update to an Alley Viper. I just said I don't feel the need to
And
have
then
another.
kind of a more realistic weapon. Um, I'm not sure what the specific, like, realistic weapon they're going for. Removable magazine, which is really cool. And then it came with a very nicely sculpted uh, version one.
Ah, that does illustrate that weird offset clip though that you were talking
Yeah,
about with the very first rifle where the clip is sitting off the side of the rifle instead of underneath.
yeah, that makes it a
Uh,
lot more easy to see, and the magazine is removable on it too. So,
I glued the magazines into mine because I don't want them to get lost.
uh,
Um,
which is not a bad idea. I do that to all my Marauder weapons, but these actually stay in really well.
I
I
yeah,
have
no,
not.
no, they stay in, but if it's not in, I'm worried about losing it.
Fair enough.
The only figure that I didn't do that for is the Cobra Officer, but that's because he's got that cool sleeve to put the that backpack, that holster for the AK-47, and it won't fit in there if you glue the clip in. But I mean,
So that
it's
kind of shows the how that offset clip does not really work with that arm. It's real easier to a lot easier to see this in this sculpt. Um, it works a little better with this particular figure because he has wrist articulation where the V1 does not. But yeah, it's still. Yeah, we're running out of time again, but that's all right. I think we will be wrapping it
I'll
up
say
here.
we're done anyways.
Yeah, so
Um,
we'll just whoops shit.
but yeah, I mean, well, I mean, real quick, dude, show your custom. Come on, man.
Okay.
Um, you're the one of the only two 6 inch
Yeah,
figures.
so we've got 10 minutes left, so I will show three customs here real quick. So let me get them because I have them right here.
I'm glad Brian edits the show and I don't. Because it was drive me nuts. But
So
yeah, it's
here's
one of the only.
my classified version of the Ally
Oh,
Viper. I actually have more than three customs. So I did them in the V2 color scheme. I did the card art based off of the Battle Core card. I think that one came out pretty nice, and I used
yeah,
the face shield from the Gridiron set.
yeah. So he's got like
Yeah,
the skull motif, which which is a good match slash update for the weird snake skull that the version 2 Alley Viper originally had.
uh, here's my version 2 custom
Yes.
double-sided card. I went with the whole Battle Core layout. That took quite a while to do in Photoshop, but I saved it as a template. I do have those templates available on the Google Drive for. So if you are interested in making your own custom cards, I have those available. I'm going to be putting up more links on my Facebook page shortly. But that's my version 2 of that figure. Oh, hi, Alice. I didn't see you sitting there. You're the girl.
Hi, Alice. Hi, puppy. That
Um,
dog's not a puppy. That dog hasn't been a puppy in years, but she acts like a puppy. She's so cute. Love that dog.
my version 3, Alley Viper. And that was
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the things
Look
I
at
was
that.
going to mention about the version 3 is it came on two different cards. It came on the card with the version 2 card art, and there is another Battle Core card that has the orange and blue on it. So that's kind of another variation of that particular figure. And oh, shit. Let me see if I can find the other custom because I am not sure where that one is. Here it is, right here.
I was gonna say you're looking for the female alley viper, right?
Yeah. I built this
Yeah.
one when JD built and painted it while JD was here one year. So there's my female eye viper custom.
Badass.
And then let me grab the last custom alley viper real quick.
There's another one.
I do have another one. It's not carded. because it's going to go in a box set.
Okay. I know what he's talking about then. His Operation Moth version. He's updating the Operation Moth lineup with some additional figures that from the that the GI Joe Collectors Club didn't use for their 2006 Moth set. So yeah, he added an urban branch to
Yeah,
the
so I'm doing
proceedings.
like JD was saying, I'm doing my own Flaming Moth sets instead of individual boxes. I'm going to do one big box set. Um, doing a because I did a SEAL Team box set a couple years ago, and apparently I didn't hate myself enough for doing that, so I'm making another box set. And just this guy is insanely huge. I don't have another like 4 inch. Yeah, let me put him up next to like a regular
I
figure.
was gonna say you've got a bunch of Alley Vipers sitting there. Yeah, this is a big beefy Alley Viper.
That shows you how this is what I imagine an Alley Viper should be. That is the driver that came with the Fury versus my custom Alley Viper.
He looks like he's gonna step on the driver version.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's my custom Alley Viper. He does have a removable helmet. He has a faceplate that goes down. I gave it an interchangeable head. The head's kind of like looks like kind of a like contractor with a baseball cap and headphones.
and a beard.
Yeah, and the beard. Backpack. I went with the
Pursuit of Cobra Low Light.
thank you. Gave him some breaching gear. So sledgehammer, bolt cutters. I dremeled in holes so they'll fit in there. The Pursuit of Cobra shield, and then the Pursuit of Cobra shield holds a sawed-off shotgun
Nice.
that I gave him, and then I also gave him the AA-12 auto shotgun.
Nice.
So,
Like a proper it's an Alley Viper, but it's more like a real world SWAT operator.
exactly.
Um
So that
with the
those are the custom Alley Vipers that I've done that I still have. I probably did a bunch when I was still.
you see how big a nerd you have to be to not only have all 14 official Alley Viper figures that Hasbro's made, but you've got 5 additional customs that you've made. Um, um,
So
so
that is our special show. Our like I said, we're gonna do this. Try and do this once a month. We're gonna do the Hiss Tank next month. We're gonna try and get a guest on for that, and we do have the one scheduled for the month after that. And that will be Firefly, and our guest for that's going to be KR Customs, who was on previously. He's a huge Firefly fan and suggested that particular figure. He has quite a few.
A good idea.
And he's going to try and get some more. So the pictures that we will hopefully be dropping into that show will not be ones we get from Google Image, but some of them will. But some of them will be pictures from his collection. Some of them will be pictures from my collection because I have some of the later end of the Fireflies. So as always, please do that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Tell us what your favorite version of the Alley Viper is and why. And let us know what you think about this special show and suggest topics for figures or vehicles that you'd like to see us talk about on the show. And as always, thanks for watching.
Jack is back there with his radar dish on.
Yes, he is. The flower pot.
All right, thanks for listening, everybody.